The battlefield was quiet now. Smoke still floated in the air, ashes of ships, weapons. And warriors covered the ground like dark snow, but no one cried, no one cheered either. The war between the humans and the Zellery Empire was over, and the silence was heavier than any sound. In the middle of the broken city stood a woman. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes sharpened silver, her long dark coat was torn, stained with dust and dried blood. She held a small child close to her chest. The child slept, unaware of the danger still around them. Her name was Zira, once a proud warrior's mate. Now, was only one thing in the eyes of her people, a widow to the Zellery. That meant she was nothing, no family, no use, no future. Their culture honored warriors but forgot their mates when they died. Widows were seen as cursed, left behind by weak bloodlines. They weren't even allowed to enter the community hall. Zira had not eaten for 2 days. The child in her arms stirred. He was not fully Zellery. His blood was mixed part human. That made things even worse. Other Zellery soldiers passed her by. Some looked at her with cold eyes. Others ignored her like she was invisible. She stood near the ruins of a command tower, waiting, hoping someone would help, but no one offered a word. Not even a drink of water. Then she saw him, a tall figure in black armor, a human marine. He had a scar across his cheek and a serious look in his eyes. He walked past the wreckage, scanning everything, then he stopped. He looked at Zira. Really? Looked. She tightened her grip on the child, unsure. No human had spoken to her since the fighting stopped. Why would this one? The Marine walked toward her. He moved slowly, carefully. Like he was approaching something fragile, he knelt in front of her and looked at the child. Is he yours? He asked in a calm voice. Zira nodded. Yes, he is mine. He's different, the Marine said. Yes, Zira answered. His father was Zellery. His mother is me. The Marine looked confused for a moment. Then he realized what she meant. You're his mother, he said again. Softly, she nodded. He looked around. Where's your unit? Your people? They left, she whispered. I'm a widow, and I'm mixed. They won't take me back. The Marine stood up, his eyes full of something strange. Maybe pity, maybe both. That's not right, he muttered. He reached into his pouch and pulled out a water capsule. He gave it to her without a word. She hesitated, then accepted it. The child drank first, then she did. Why are you helping us? She asked. The Marine didn't answer at first. My name is Kane, he finally said. I fight for Earth, and we don't leave people behind. That's your rule? She asked. It's my rule, he said, and that's enough for now. Just then, a voice called out from a nearby bunker. Kane. Orders came in. We're pulling back. Let's go. A second human soldier appeared and saw Zira. He frowned. What is that Zellery widow doing here? She's coming with me, Kane replied. The other soldier laughed. What? She's a liability, and that kid is probably dangerous. She's not a threat, Kane said. She's a mother. You'll get court-martialed for this. The soldier warned. I don't care, Kane said. Alarms began to ring. Enemy signatures were detected. Small groups of surviving Zellery rebels. Kane turned to Zira. Can you walk? She nodded, her legs shaking. He offered his hand. She took it. Soldiers shouted. We have to go. Leave the Zellery. But Kane didn't let go of her hand. He walked with her through the debris, his rifle ready. The child clung to Zira's neck. Silent, wide-eyed, the sun was setting, casting a red glow across the sky as they reached the human landing zone. Commanders saw them coming, weapons were raised, orders screamed, but Kane kept walking. He said only one thing, she's with me, and for the first time since the war began. Zira felt something strange, not fear, not shame, but hope. Asterisk, they had their guns pointed at him. All of them, 7 soldiers, fully armed. Red lights on their helmets blinking like angry eyes, but Kane didn't blink. He just stood there. One arm holding his rifle, the other shielding Zira and her child. This isn't your fight, Kane. The officer shouted, move away from the alien now. But Kane's voice was calm. She's not just an alien. He said, she's a widow, and her child is half human. No one moved, even the wind stopped. A low humming sound from the rescue shuttle filled the silence. Zyra held her breath. She had never seen humans argue before. But this one, Kane, stood in front of her like a wall, like a soldier who had already made peace with death. The child in her arms whispered, "Are they going to take us away again?" "No," Kane said without turning. "I won't let them." Asterisk, asterisk. Kane had seen death. Too much of it on Earth, on the ice moons, in the trenches of Mars. He once watched a whole colony burn because one order came too late. He had followed rules. His whole life, until the day the rules started breaking people, that was the day he decided to follow his own code. He looked the officer in the eyes. "Stand down," Kane said. "You know the law," the officer replied. "Zalari widows are enemy property. This one helped us win," Kane said. "Her husband died fighting beside us, doesn't matter," the officer replied. "She's still one of them." "Then I guess," Kane said slowly, "I'm one of them too." A murmur ran through the soldiers. One of them lowered his weapon, confused. "Sir, he's risking court-martial for a hybrid and a traitor's widow." The officer gave a frustrated sigh. "Fine, take them," he said to Kane. "But if they cause one problem, it's your head." Kane nodded. It already was. Asterisk, asterisk. Later, inside the transport ship, Zyra sat in silence. She held her child close, rocking him gently. Kane sat across from them, cleaning his rifle, not looking at her. "Why?" she asked softly. Kane looked up. "Why? Are you doing this?" she asked again. "No one else did. No Zalari, no human, no one. Why you?" Kane didn't answer right away. He looked at the child, who was finally asleep. Then he spoke, "Because I saw the same thing once," said. "A woman holding her baby. No one helping her. Back home. During the riots I was. Too young, too scared to do anything. I promised myself next time I wouldn't walk away." Zyra stared at him. He wasn't like the others. Humans were supposed to be cold, tactical, focused on winning, but this one had something else in him. Something her own people had lost long ago. Compassion, asterisk, asterisk. The ship rattled as it entered orbit. Warning lights flashed. An alert voice echoed through the chamber. "Unidentified movement in Sector 9A. Possible enemy survivors." Kane stood, instantly alert. He grabbed his rifle, checked the charge, and turned to Zyra. "Stay here. Don't move." "Are we in danger?" she asked. "Not if I can help it," Kane replied. Zyra watched him go. The metal door closed behind him with a sharp hiss. She looked down at her sleeping child, and for the first time in many days, she whispered something quietly. Maybe not all humans are monsters." Asterisk, asterisk. Meanwhile, in the lower deck, Kane moved through the shadows. He wasn't alone. Something was crawling through the wreckage of the ship's damaged cargo bay. Something fast, silent, and full of hate. He heard a click behind him, turned fast, weapon raised, but it wasn't an alien. Oh, it was a fellow soldier, bleeding, gasping. "They're still alive," the soldier whispered. "The enemy. It's not over." "What are you talking about?" Kane asked. "The Zalari left something behind. A sleeper unit. Experimental. It's coming." Asterisk, asterisk. Back in the quarters, Zyra felt something cold in her spine. Her child woke up, crying, eyes wide with fear. "There's something here," he said. "Something bad." Zyra stood up slowly. The lights flickered once, then twice. Then everything went dark. And somewhere in the belly of the ship, something opened its eyes. Before war ends, it hides, it waits, and sometimes it changes its face. The ship was quiet again. Too quiet. The lights buzzed as emergency power came on. One by one, sections of the ship flickered red. Something was moving through the ventilation. Shafts, but it wasn't human, and it wasn't fully Zalari either. Asterisk, asterisk. Zyra held her son close. Her warrior senses, once dull from grief, were now sharp again. She could feel something alive, watching, waiting. Not from the hallway, but from inside. The walls. Her son looked up. "Mama, someone's whispering in the walls." Zyra froze. "What do you mean?" "I hear it," he said. "Like metal breathing." Asterisk, asterisk. Elsewhere, Kane helped the injured soldier onto a bench. What did you see? He asked, voice tight. The soldier's face was pale, blood oozing from a wound across his side. I thought. It was a survivor, the man said. It looked like a Zellerie, but twisted. Fast, armored, and silent. It didn't kill me. Not yet. It wanted something. Kane cursed under his breath. Zira and her child were alone.
Ow.
If this was a Zellerie bioweapon, they could be the target, or worse, the trigger. Asterisk back in the room. Zira stared at the shadows. The air felt heavy, like pressure before a storm. She picked up a metal tool from the wall. Her hand steady. The old training came back without effort. Her son whispered, "Is Papa coming back to help us?" Zira swallowed hard. "No, baby," she said, "but someone else's." The light snapped off completely. For 3 seconds, there was only darkness. Then something dropped from the ceiling. It's not a thud, not a roar, just a soft click. Like claws on metal? Zira didn't scream. She moved fast, smooth, like she was born in war. She pushed her child under the bunk and turned with her weapon. The thing stood across the room. It's taller than a human, thinner than a Zellerie. Its skin. It was like polished bone, and its eyes glowed silver. It tilted its head like a curious animal. "You are not complete?" it said in a distorted voice. Zira gritted her teeth. "Neither are you," she said, and swung. Kane burst in just in time to see her slam the creature across the side. It crashed against the wall but landed on its feet. Like a spider, Kane raised his rifle and fired 3 shots in the chest. Nothing. The thing hissed and ran straight at him, but Zira threw a charged tool at a control panel. Electric sparks flew, hitting the creature mid-air. It screamed, half machine, half beast, and retreated into the wall again. Heavy breathing filled the room. Kane looked at her, amazed. "You fought like one of us," he said. She looked at him and replied, "I trained with warriors before I became worthless." "No," Kane said. "You were never worthless." Later. In the command room, they studied the security logs. The bioweapon was part of a secret Zellerie experiment. A project that mixed alien genes with artificial intelligence. It was designed to hunt emotion, specifically fear, shame, and grief. Zira's presence had triggered it because she felt everything. The others tried to hide, and now the weapon was awake and learning. Can we kill it? The officer asked. "No," Kane said, "not yet. We need to understand it." "Why?" The officer snapped. "Because it's hunting us like prey," Kane said, "and it's starting to enjoy it." That night, Zira sat alone. Her son slept beside her. She stared at a crack in the wall and whispered, "You want to feed on pain? Then you came to the wrong mother." Somewhere deep inside the ship. The creature sat, curled in a chamber. It replayed her face again and again on its inner screen. Then it added a label. Target, unpredictable threat, human-aligned. Response, adapt. The ship was no longer safe. The war was not over. And the last enemy didn't die yet? Before the stars? Before the war? Before the machines and weapons? There was sand, and the sand remembers everything. Zira stepped onto the surface of the dead moon. Her boots sank slightly into the soft dust. It was warm. Too warm, like something under the ground was still alive. Behind her, Kane scanned the area, rifle ready. Her child followed between them. Small steps, slow but curious. This was supposed to be a rest stop. But the moment Zira touched the sand, something changed. A deep vibration echoed under their feet, not loud, not dangerous, but calling. Kane turned to her. "What is this place?" Zira didn't answer. She had seen this in her dreams, a place with broken towers, symbols buried in stone, and a voice whispering her name through time. They walked further. The sky above was dark purple, stars like cold knives. Suddenly the child stopped. He knelt and touched the ground. "Something is under here," he said softly. "Something that knows us." Kane pulled out a scanner. "Underground structure," he said, eyes wide, massive, old, full of tech I've never seen. He looked at Zira. "Did your people build this?" She shook her head slowly. "No," she said. "My people forgot this." Asterisk, asterisk, as they moved deeper into the ruins. They reached a stone gate covered in alien script. The child's eyes began to glow faintly. He walked up and placed his hand on the stone. The gate opened without a sound. Kane raised his weapon, but Zira held out her hand. "No," she whispered. "This place knows him. It doesn't want to hurt us." Asterisk, asterisk, inside was a large hall, cold silver, quiet. Rows of glowing memory crystals floated in the air. Strange humming sounds filled the space. The walls were painted with images. Warriors, mothers, stars, and flames. In the center was a throne made of stone and glass. Zira froze, her breath caught. She stepped forward and touched the throne. Suddenly memories that weren't hers poured into her mind. A great queen, a child born from two worlds. War that was never meant to happen, and a betrayal that erased a legacy from history. Asterisk, asterisk, Zira dropped to her knees, gasping. Kane rushed to her. "What happened?" She looked at him, eyes filled with tears. "I wasn't just a soldier's mate," she whispered. "I was born from the bloodline of the first flame. I was meant to lead, not disappear." "And the boy?" Kane asked. "He's the key," she said, "to unity or destruction if he lives." The stars might listen again. Asterisk, asterisk. Suddenly, alarms echoed through the chamber. Kane turned fast, scanning the shadows. A hologram lit up in the center of the hall. Ditch showed the ship above Yunder attack. 3 unknown vessels had entered orbit. No ID, no signal, no warning, but the symbol on one of the ships made Zira's blood run cold. A broken flame wrapped in metal chains. "They're called the Forgotten Blades," she whispered. "They serve the dark side of our kind, those who erased us." Asterisk, asterisk. The chamber shifted. Walls moved, gears turned, and a hidden room opened. Inside was a weapon not made of metal, but of pure light and memory. It hovered, sensing the child. He stepped forward, slowly, and it bonded to his hand like a glove. Kane watched in shock. What did it just do? Zira smiled faintly. It remembered who he is. Asterisk, asterisk. Footsteps echoed from the hall entrance. Enemy scouts, wearing strange armor, entered with glowing blades. They looked at Zira with disgust. "The bloodline lives," one hissed. "Not for long." Zira stood up, face calm and full of fire. "No," she said. "You buried us in the sand, but the sand kept our secrets, and now we rise." Asterisk, asterisk. With one wave of her hand, the chamber awakened. Stone turned to light. The walls responded to her voice like an ancient AI waking from sleep. Kane raised his weapon. The child raised his glowing hand, and together they faced the ones who tried to erase them. Asterisk, asterisk. Above, in orbit, the ship's systems flickered. The creature from before the hybrid weapon sensed the energy awakening below. It tilted its head. New variable detected. It whispered, "Adaptation required." Asterisk, asterisk. But deep under the sand, Zira was no longer hiding. She was remembering. She was returning. And the stars were watching again. It always comes from someone close. Not the monster, not the enemy, but the one who smiled yesterday and stood beside you in the fire. That's how betrayal feels. Not like a knife, but like silence in the middle of a promise. Asterisk, asterisk. The underground chamber was quiet again. After the battle, Zira, Kane, and the child stood in the heart of ancient knowledge. Walls still glowed with memory, but something had changed. Trust had shifted. Someone had touched the beacon, and someone had sent out a signal that should have stayed buried. The wrong ships were coming, and someone here had called them. Asterisk, asterisk. Kane paced near the exit, scanning his data pad. "The signal was sent from inside our group," said, voice tight. "There's no way the Forgotten Blades found us without help." Zira was silent, her face pale and unreadable. "Who would do that?" she asked. Kane looked at her, then at the 3 surviving soldiers from the earlier drop team. One of them avoided his gaze. Private Lorne, the youngest. The quiet one, the one who always kept his helmet on. Kane called him forward. "Remove your helmet." Lorne hesitated. "I don't understand." "Remove it," Kane said again, calm but firm. Lorne obeyed, and the moment his helmet came off, Zira gasped. His skin, part of it wasn't fully human. It shimmered faintly. Under the light, with a pattern only she recognized, "You're not one of them," she whispered. "You're a hybrid." "Like my son," Lauren smiled, but it wasn't warm. "No," he said. "I'm not like him. I was made, grown in a tank by the forgotten, sent to watch." Asterisk, asterisk. Kane raised his weapon in a flash, but it was too late. Lauren pressed something on his wrist. A short-range EMP blasted through the chamber. Lights cracked and flickered. The room shook. Zira grabbed her son and pulled him close. Kane was thrown into a wall, his rifle sparking. "You were never meant to survive," Lauren said, stepping back. "The child was a failed link, an accident. But now that you've awakened the ancient system, he is no longer useless." He looked at the boy. "Your blood can unlock the gates. Your emotions can power what our machines cannot." Zyra's eyes burned. "You used us," she said, voice shaking with fury. "You made us trust you. That was the plan," Lauren replied. "And you followed it perfectly." Asterisk, asterisk. Then came the sound of engines. Enemy ships landed above. The forgotten blades had arrived. Dozens of armored warriors poured into the ruins, weapons humming, visors glowing red. Kane staggered to his feet, one hand bloody. He stood in front of Zyra and her son again. Just like he had the first day, broken, cornered, and still refusing to run. "You're going to die for them?" Lauren asked. "They're not even your kind." Kane wiped blood from his mouth. "They're better than you," he said. "That's enough for me." Asterisk, asterisk. Zyra stepped beside him. She handed Kane a glowing shard from the throne room. It pulsed. When he touched it, "What is it?" "Something old," she said. "Something that still remembers what humans did to save us once." Kane looked at her, even after betrayal, after losing her people, after being hunted and discarded. She stood tall, not as a widow, but as a leader. Asterisk, asterisk. The child, standing between them, suddenly raised his hand. The chamber responded with a hum. The light bent around them like a shield. The enemy's guns fired, but the bullets melted before touching them. Lauren's eyes widened in fear. He activated it. He shouldn't be able to. "He's not like you," Zyra said. "He wasn't made to destroy. He was born to survive." Asterisk, asterisk. As explosions echoed through the sand above, Kane looked at her. "We can't hold this place." "No," she said, "but we can burn it before they take it." She turned to the ancient system and whispered something in her old tongue. The walls began to collapse. Memory crystals shattered, sending out bursts of data into space. History could not be stolen again. Asterisk, asterisk. They ran through the tunnels. Lauren screaming behind them, trapped in the ruin of what he helped destroy above them. The forgotten ships burned in the sky. The old world collapsed, but the truth escaped with them. Asterisk, asterisk. Back aboard the ship, Zyra looked at Kane in silence. "You still trust me?" she asked. Kane gave a tired smile. "Always," he said. "You didn't betray me." The child sat beside them, in his hand. The shard still pulsed softly, not as a weapon, but as a memory. A future not yet written. Asterisk, far beyond the dust and war, beyond human satellites and alien borders. There was a signal. It was ancient, forbidden, and nearly impossible to hear. But something heard it anyway, something that never forgot. Asterisk, asterisk. Zyra stood at the edge of the docking bay, her eyes fixed on the stars behind her. The boy slept with his head on Kane's lap. The ship drifted through neutral space, low on fuel and running silent. They were alive, but not safe, not anymore. Kane's voice was low. "We'll need help," he said. Zyra nodded slowly. "But the ones who can help us," she whispered, "will also want to own us." Asterisk, asterisk. Suddenly, a cold vibration ran through the ship. The lights flickered, but not from damage. This was different. Something had entered their space. Not with engines, but with presence. Kane looked at the radar. No ships detected. Zyra closed her eyes. "They don't use ships," she said. "They arrive, asterisk, asterisk, and then just like that." They were no longer alone. A white glow filled the bay, soft and weightless, like falling snow. Shapes began to form tall, Elegant figures with faces that shimmered like moving water. Not Zalari, not human, not machine. They were something older. Zyra stepped forward, her voice calm but her hands slightly shaking. You still exist. The lead figure looked at her. We never left, it said. We simply waited. Cain reached for his weapon, but Zyra touched his arm. They're not enemies, she said. But they're not friends either. The glowing beings circled the boy, who was now wide awake. One of them spoke in a voice that echoed in the mind. He is the signal. He is the union. He is ours. Cain stepped in front of the boy. Back up, he said, voice sharp. You don't get to just claim him. The figures looked at Cain with curiosity. You are the human who broke the rules. You carried the outcast. You chose compassion over command. Cain nodded. Yeah, he said, and I'd do it again. The figures were silent. Then one of them bowed slightly. We have not forgotten what your kind did long ago, it said, when the stars turned against us. It was your species that offered shelter. Zyra stared at them. That's not in the history books. No, they said, because your leaders erased it, but we remember. They turned to the boy again. He carries more than blood, he carries keys. Keys that can unlock gates sealed before your empires were born? Cain stepped closer. What do you want with him? The figures answered together. To protect him, to test him. To see if he is ready? Zyra frowned. He's just a child. Not to us, they said. He is a bridge. Suddenly, alarm screamed through the ship. New ships had entered the system? Not forgotten blades? Not human? Not Zalari? But mercenaries, bounty hunters. Pirates drawn by the price on Zyra's head and the whispers of the child's power. Cain looked at the glowing beings. If you want to protect him, he said, now's the time. The figures stepped forward. Their bodies changed. Light became armor. Thought became force. They lifted their hands. And through the ship's windows, Cain saw the stars bend. The pirate ships froze mid-flight, locked in place by invisible threads of gravity, then shattered like glass. No sound, no fire, just the end. But it came with a price. The glowing beings began to fade. Their energy drained. They looked at Zyra. And Cain one last time. This is only the beginning, they said. Others will come. Some to follow, some to break him, Zyra asked. Will you return? The lead figure smiled faintly. When the time is right, and with that, they vanished, leaving silence, starlight, and a child glowing faintly with ancient energy. Later, Cain sat beside the boy. He placed a hand on his shoulder. How? Are you holding up? The boy looked at him with steady eyes. I saw something, he said. In their minds. What did you see? Cain asked. The boy whispered, they're not the only ones watching. There's someone else. Someone worse. Zyra turned toward the stars, her voice quiet. We were never meant to survive this long, but now that we have, they'll all come for us. And somewhere, in a hidden part of the galaxy, a shadow opened its eyes and smiled, because even ancient light cannot hide from a deeper darkness. Some wars are fought with weapons, some are fought with truth, but the most dangerous war is for the right to be seen. They stood in the Hall of Concord, a neutral station built in orbit above the broken moons. Representatives from 3 species gathered: humans, Zalari, and the ones who lived in light. But the room was not filled with peace. It was filled with judgment. Zyra stood tall, her hands behind her back. Cain stood beside her, his wounds still fresh, and between them stood the boy, quiet but glowing from within, the child who once had no name. Now the most wanted being in the galaxy, Zalari, elder, stepped forward, voice sharp. She is a widow of disgrace, he said, pointing at Zyra. She should have been left behind. She is not of pure blood. Then a human general stepped in. She broke laws, he said coldly, harbored alien tech, endangered lives. She should be detained. The child looked up at Cain. Are they going to take us? He asked softly. Cain placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. No, he whispered. Not while I'm breathing. Asterisk, asterisk from the far end of the hall. A voice echoed. It came from one of the light beings, older than the others. It stepped forward. With a presence so heavy, even the generals quieted. You all claim to know who deserves to live, it said. You talk of purity, of laws, of borders. But I ask you this, who stood in the fire when no one else did? The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Cain, a soldier from a small blue planet. A man who broke every rule not for power, but for a mother and a child no one wanted. Asterisk, asterisk. Then the child spoke. His voice echoed louder than it should. I don't. Want to be a key? He said. I don't want to be a weapon. I just want to be with the ones who chose me. He pointed at Cain and then at Zyra. They didn't need to, he said, but they did. Asterisk, asterisk. The hall buzzed with unrest. The Zalari elder shouted, This is unacceptable. He belongs to no one. Cain stepped forward. His voice was clear, steady. He belongs to himself. But if you need someone to claim him, to protect him, then I will. He turned to the tribunal. Claim them both, he said, as allies, as family. And if that breaks your system, then maybe your system was broken first. Asterisk, asterisk gasps filled the hall. Some stood, others protested. But one by one, voices fell, because truth carries. Wait, and his words were heavier than any law. The ancient being looked at Zyra and Cain. It is done, it said. The claim is made, and we recognize it. A mark of light appeared on Cain's chest. Not a weapon, not a brand, but a symbol and oath, binding them as a unit no law could erase. Asterisk, asterisk later, in the quiet of the observation deck. Zyra sat beside Cain. The boy slept peacefully. For the first time in weeks, she turned to Cain. You didn't have to say those words. He looked at her with a small smile. I didn't say them because I had to. I said them because they were true. She stared at him, eyes soft. For a species known for war, she said, you humans carry strange things in your hearts. Yeah, Cain replied. Things like belonging, asterisk, asterisk down below. On 3 worlds, news spread. A human had claimed an alien widow and her child. Not as property, but as equals, as family. For the first time in centuries, the word human meant something more, not destroyer, not invader, but the one who stayed, the one who saw worth in what others threw away. Asterisk, asterisk, in the dark corners of the galaxy, enemies watched in silence. Some feared, some laughed. But one whispered, if they can unite like this, they might be unstoppable. Asterisk, asterisk, and back in the stars. Zyra whispered to her sleeping son, they called me worthless. They said no one would ever claim us. But they didn't know the heart of a human, and the stars for once were listening.